Welcome back to Ride and Laugh Podcast. If you love mountain biking, you are in the right place. Picture your last really fun group ride. You're back at the parking lot. The Stoke is high. Everyone's talking about bikes, tech, nutrition, progression, jumps, drops, berms. That's what we do here every week on the Ride and Laugh Podcast. You love bikes. We love bikes. Let's drop in. Sage, how are you today?
Danny, I don't know about you, but man, I feel like the wind has been nonstop this year. Has it been windy in Arizona? Because I just feel like every day is blustery.
Oh, it's interesting. It's interesting that you say that because I went for a ride this morning and it was super, super windy. And the route that I did had a small little road portion, maybe a mile, if that, a little uphill road portion to push back up to the parking lot. And it was a headwind.
Oh,
and I felt like I was on my trainer with the resistance turned up all the way. And I'm just like, who wants to do this? Who is going out on road bikes and being like, oh yeah, like my ride will be totally different because of the wind today.
I know.
I mean,
I feel like
road biking in the wind just seems like awful to me, but road biking feels awful to me. And look, for our roadie listeners, I know we have a lot of people that listen. I know I alienate a lot of people.
Yeah.
When I with my anti-roadie.
You're anti, yeah.
Do I?
I don't know.
I'm an anti-roadite.
I don't know, Danny. But
God bless you. You're getting out there on a bicycle. Yeah.
I feel like this year, I probably count on my hands how many times there's been like no wind. Every day just has some kind of blusteriness to it. And man, thank God for power meters because like at least I know I'm getting credit for the extra work that I'm putting in. You know what I mean? Holy moly.
That's true. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's a good point. Where do you feel the wind on the trails the most? You know, at what point do you say, oh, the wind is going to affect my ride?
Yeah.
I think the obvious answer, right, is
jumping.
Jumps, right? Bike park jumps, right?
Yeah. And typically on a jump line, there are going to be less trees. So you do definitely feel it. You know, at a bike park, there's certainly hardly any trees at the Phoenixville bike park. So yeah, when that happens, you know, you just got to pivot. You just got to pivot and let go of whatever expectations you had for that ride and just, all right, we're doing this now.
Yeah. It's staying in the moment. There's so many times this has happened in my life every day almost where I go to bed thinking one thing and then the day ends up unfolding completely differently and the ride ends up unfolding completely differently. I thought we were going to hit this feature. I thought it was going to hit this trail, you know, and I'm thinking about it, I'm obsessing about it. And then we get there and we're like, oh no, we're not going that way. Or, you know, oh, it's windy. We're not going to do the jumps, you know? And it's just like, oh, but I've been obsessing about that. So the lesson obviously there is let it go. See what happens. What's the best that can happen, right?
Yeah.
I had the pleasure of riding that Puro Trail again. I did a ride with my buddy Chris, who is a listener and has commented in, and he was like, hey man, let's ride hauls. And he brought his e-bike and I was on my analog bike. That's all I have right now. Man, we did a really big ride. And one of the things that he wanted to show me was Puro. And last time I was on that trail, I was with the guys that were getting ready to race the Enduro. And I was kind of coming out of that, like that funk I was in, you know, when I was in one, because I had a bunch of falls and I was just like, my confidence was low. Mm-hmm. And Chris really wanted to like take me down Puro. And it's a black trail, but I mean, it feels like double black in a lot of sections and some double black features. Mm-hmm. So while I didn't hit everything I wanted to, I felt better than the last time I was on it.
Yeah.
And to me, that was a big win. And I stopped and I looked at the tree gap. And at first I was like, no. And then I watched Chris send it and he sent it deep and he said he still bottomed out his suspension. And if you're watching on the YouTube, Sage has a video of it, you can still see his head kind of slam, like I think it goes pretty flat no matter what. So
yes,
I told him, I was like, if I send this, so I looked at it after he sent it and I took the video and I was like, if I sent it, I think I'd want to go a little bit slower. And he said, oh, well, I can do it slower if you want to see it that way. And I could tow you in. And so I was kind of ready I wasn't committing to doing it, but I was like, let me do this run in with you and see how it feels. Maybe I'll go. And then it just didn't work out where we started to go and I had trouble clipping in. And we just from where we started, he was like halfway down the trail. You know what I mean? Like I kind of lost that confidence of following someone that you trust.
Yeah.
But the run in felt good. And, you know, I'm just going to wait and do it in perfect timing. I think the more I get eyes on it, that was what Chris said. He was like, just the more you ride the trail, the more you get comfortable. You know, you can go buy something 50 times and then all of a sudden be like, oh yeah, I got this. You know, I think I can do this. This feels good. And we've had lots of examples of that.
Yeah. You know, you just brought up something and it reminded me of something. You just said bottom out, and we have a massive correction to make from the last.
Oh my God. We're supposed to start with that. We are supposed to to with that. Yes.
I know. Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Holy moly.
All right. Sage, how are you? We made a huge mistake on our mountain bike tip of the week, which was the circumcised tip from the previous week. And it turns out, once you circumcise something, you're not supposed to keep that tip.
Throw it out.
You got to throw it out. Yeah. We kept it. We put it in the jar with the calluses. We kept the tip. You're not supposed to keep that thing. It's gross. And our tip was wrong. Our tip of the week was wrong. And so Nunface and Dan, some of our great commenters, wrote in and they said, hey guys, the tip is incorrect. And essentially the tip was that I had always thought I was going to go and increase the PSI by 8 to 10 because I thought I lost 8 to 10 PSI when I took off the pump, because I would put it back on to check it and it would be less. But the listeners explained that that's not true. What is actually happening?
So the way that they explained it was that sound that you're hearing when you unscrew the hose from the shock is actually the residual air that's in the hose that is leaking out. So when you unscrew it, the canister of the rear shock actually closes. So you're not losing any air from that. And then when you put it back on, the reason why it reads 10 to 8 PSI lower is because that air from the canister fills up that hose. And so that must be the 8 to 10 PSI. So the moral of the story is just fill your shock to the recommended amount. Don't put 10 extra.
Yeah.
My bad.
It's great news. It's really great news that we don't need to figure out how much extra we need to put in and that they have this all figured out. I had no idea. Yeah. I was telling everyone that I bought like an $80 digital shock pump so I could have the exact number I want in there.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I'm just blowing past that number and going 10 too high. Yeah. And let me tell you, that final 10 PSI is not easy. You know what I mean? You're breaking a sweat getting that last 10 PSI in there. Yeah.
Look at the forearms.
That is that's a tough pump.
Oh boy. I know.
So I'm grateful. I apologize that I misled everyone, and including you. But I'm glad that we have a podcast where someone could be like, hey, yo, that's wrong. And
you guys are idiots.
Apparently I'm running too high a PSI on all my bikes. So that's good to know.
I know. It explains a lot, Danny. Yeah. You know what? You none of those crashes were your fault. You had 10 PSI too much in the rear.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even though I run a coil on my
snap. There goes that.
Darn it. All right. Well, thank you for bringing that up, and thank you to our listeners for pointing that out. And,
oh my gosh. Yeah.
Anything we miss, or get wrong, we are guys that have been mountain biking for a long time, and we absorb a lot of mountain bike content.
Except,
and we have a lot of mountain bike conversations.
Yeah.
But we don't work. We're not like bike shop mechanics. You know what I mean? I was just saying, I thought there was unicorns in our front suspension. So.
I still believe
we're not bike shop mechanics. Yeah. We're not pro level riders yet. I mean, soon people will pay us lots of money for the podcast. I think more than the actual riding.
Not after this, yeah.
Yeah. The Fox Digital Pump people are like, you know what? Let's pull it. Pull it.
Pull it.
Yeah.
Pull it.
Yeah.
Gosh.
We talked a lot about our bike computers and our watches and the difference. Have you noticed anything? Because I have an update on my Garmin watch that I wear.
Yeah.
And my bike computer have suddenly been almost identical again. Something happened where my Wahoo and my Garmin are almost the same. I can use either one. They're within 50 feet of each other. I'm climbing and half a mile. Yeah. I don't know if there was some sort of update. Have you noticed that? Because I know you run both also.
I do not run them both at the same time. However, I have noticed that when I do run both at the same time, they are very similar. So I'm wondering if, one is, boosting the satellite connection so that it's stronger. Who knows?
What? You think they're working together?
Listen, I'm with you on the unicorns. And for me, the watch technology is in that same, magic is happening in there. Yeah.
For sure. There's so much I don't understand how it works.
Yeah.
We were just talking how I don't know how many of our listeners noticed, but there was a Verizon server that went down yesterday.
Yes.
And so my cell phone just lost signal. And I wasn't out or anything like that, but the top of my phone, instead of showing the bar, how many bars you had, it just said SOS.
Yeah.
And I was like,
oh crap.
oh my God. Yeah. My main concern is that it was that Google Maps wouldn't work because I'm notoriously horrible with directions. And I feel like Google Maps was created for me.
Yeah.
I can get anywhere I want now, including the trailhead and the bike shop and the restaurant after the ride, but I use it all the time. And there's the bike computers, Trailforks, there's so much we use in the digital world. Who knows how that works?
Danny, you are notoriously bad with directions. Oh my goodness, brother. We've been literally eye shot of the parking lot and you're lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah. And I'll go at one time and I'm leading you through it. It'll be home trails for you.
You have an internal compass that's we'll be at a brand new place and we'll have gotten off the map a little bit because the trail was really fun and we took a different downhill. Yeah. And you'll just lead us back to the car. I feel like it's this way. I feel like it's this way, and let's go this, and let's take this. This is for me, as soon as I turn around, I'm lost. I don't know where I am. You know what I mean? I can this very basic. It's crazy. My internal compass is just it's not great. It's not great, but I have the maps on the phone and I have Trailforks and I have all these things where I can still go out and kind of get lost, but find my way around. And eventually I learn these trails, but for whatever reason, I get turned around very, very easily, even in the car, anywhere.
You know what though? It kind of fits into the ethos of how you ride too. It's you have these maps and you study them and you're able to put these routes together and you know how all of it works. I don't know how any of that stuff works. I mean, God forbid we ever went somewhere new and you asked me to put a trail route together.
Yeah.
Not happening, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. You the man when it comes to that stuff. Yeah, man.
It's interesting. That's a really cool perspective because we talk all the time how everything happens for us.
That's right.
And so my lack of being able, I can't look at a trail system on the computer and then be okay, I can do this ride. No, I will actually create the route and then upload it to my computer and then we can follow the computer. And because I'm so bad with my sense of direction, it's kind of led me down this road of okay, we'll learn this skill instead.
Right.
And that's really served us. You know what I mean? That's come in handy so many times. And, just, I don't know how many people have used that where you create a map or a route and upload it to your bike computer and then just follow it. But it's awesome instead of having to pop your phone out all the time. It's awesome.
I think you are selling yourself very short, by the way, folks. I just want to let you know that when Dan puts a route together, he studies each individual trail, reads the description. If there's a YouTube video on it, he'll watch the YouTube video and then decides whether that small little section of trail goes in the route or not, and does this for each segment of the route. It's I don't think that you've ever flubbed a trail route, brother. And that's saying something because we've ridden at so many different places and you've knocked it out the park every time. It's magic.
I appreciate that. There's something very satisfying to me about that. I don't know, even though it's time consuming, there's something very satisfying and I enjoy it in a weird way. I enjoy it because when you're putting together a route, you do want to make sure that that you're not climbing the downhill.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And a lot of these trails are when you put together a route, a lot of times these, you're not finding all the downhill, and the way Trailforks recommends them, you're going to have to climb it. So you go in the comments and you can read what is this like to climb? Am I sending me and my friends up something that's unclimbable? But you also have to be able to filter out the comments, where people are this is hike a bike only, nobody's riding this. And then you see one person that's it's rideable. And I'm Sage, we're doing it.
We're in.
Someone wrote it. We're doing it.
We're in it.
If everyone's complaining about it being a hiking trail and then one guy says that it's rideable, that's our kind of trail. You know?
Yes. By the way, did you notice the heavens have opened up behind me? Look at this. I look like I'm ascending into the. Oh my Lord! Well, this is
what are we talking about that Jesus is so happy about right now?
Yeah. So when you have, oh boy.
All right. I love it. Yeah, man.
This podcast is that's so
divinely.
Bad.
This podcast is divinely approved.
My Lord! Yeah.
Anyone not watching on the YouTube, there's just like all of a sudden the sun is hitting. I've never seen your office like this. And Sage is just like bathed in like rays of sunshine.
I don't know how to block it. Where's it? Oh, it's right here.
Don't block it. Why are you blocking the universe? The universe's blessing.
Yes.
That's like something I would do. Yeah. Go with the flow.
Go with the flow. Okay. Well, if you were watching on YouTube, I apologize. There's nothing I can do about it. This is why we don't record during the day.
Should we mention that this is our second podcast in 2 days, that we already recorded this?
No, I think we've embarrassed ourselves enough. No, my God. Between circumcising your tip and now. Oh, boy.
Yeah. The circumcised tip that we kept, which was supposed to be thrown away. And then we recorded a whole podcast yesterday. It was fantastic. Let me tell you, everyone, you think this is good? Like this is awful compared to yesterday's podcast. I mean, yesterday's podcast was amazing. No one's ever going to hear it though, because you had some sort of equipment issue halfway through and we lost it. Yeah. So we're recording again. And that initial frustration moment of like, oh, we lost everything. And it was a good conversation, but we lost it. And very quickly, I think both of us have, because this has happened before, but both of us pivoted to, I get to, instead of I have to record another podcast, I get to have another conversation with my buddy. I get to spend another hour and a half talking bikes, like this is going with the flow. It's windy out. I'm going to ride the tech instead of the jumps, right? You just go with the flow.
Yeah. I mean, easier said than done, right? I think I do this in mountain biking a lot better than in life, and it takes me, a little bit of work to get to that conclusion. I did get to that conclusion, but I woke up and I was really pissed. It's like, oh crap, I lost a whole day of editing, now I got to make Danny, do this again. And, here I am, I was just like, you know what? No. So a little bit of grace, because that doesn't come easy, and you're someone that works at that like all the time. And for me, I just rely on it being natural. And that's when it bites me, because I don't work on it when stuff goes wrong and I don't know how to get out of it. Whereas you're just like, okay, here's the process to get out of this. And I think I see that in your riding as well. Like when I get to the jumps, and for whatever reason, I can't jump that day, like we've all had that, where it's like, one day you'll be able to jump awesome. And the next day it's like something's going wrong. I won't know why, because everything's kind of instinctual. For you, it's like, because you know exactly where you should be taking off and this should be happening now and blah, blah, blah. It's easier for you to diagnose that. And frankly, I'm a little bit jealous. That's an awesome trait to have.
Yeah, well, it's funny because the grass is always greener, right? Because I'm totally jealous of your just natural intuitiveness, that when you get into a flow, that you just got it. You don't need to understand it. You don't need to break it down. You don't need mantras. You don't need to get in the right headspace. You just flow with it.
Yeah.
So
you know what, bro? We're like the bosom buddies of mountain biking. Like we complement each other very well. I'm close and Larry, by the way. Oh, that's Perfect Strangers.
Cousin Larry was not a bosom buddy. Circumcise that whole bit. First of all, there's a very small segment that understands what we're talking about right now of like late 70s, early 80s sitcoms. Okay, I know we got some listeners that are chuckling, but secondly, the bosom buddies didn't compliment each other.
No, they didn't.
I don't feel like
that's totally wrong. It's totally wrong.
They were both just guys in drag living in an all women's apartment building. It's a ridiculous plot, but this is what we grew up watching. Perfect Strangers.
There we go.
Yeah, they didn't really compliment each other either. Yeah, but funny shows. They probably don't hold up. I can't imagine any of these slapstick early 80s sitcoms hold up.
Be so not PC. Yes.
Yeah. They're probably dumb. They're just probably. I mean, if we thought they were funny when we were like 8, they're probably really dumb.
Oh boy. Well,
okay. Boy, I didn't see a Bosom Buddies reference coming today. That's
fantastic.
And
sorry.
You kind of like snuck in a little Cousin Larry, a little Perfect Strangers in there. That's great.
Well, Balky, come on.
We've been talking a lot, especially you've been talking a lot about bouncing for traction. And I was like starting to play with this. I mentioned how I was underestimating your bounce, that I didn't feel like I was bouncing enough. Yeah. And I really started to use it on, I rode National Trail. We climbed National Trail and then went right back down National Trail, which is a great out and back on South Mountain. And that was with Joe and Jeremy and Jeff. Only Jay's guy were allowed. They only allowed one person who didn't have a J name, and that was me. On the list? That was me. So
it was
yep. Yeah, I only ride with Jay's today. Sorry, fellas. And I was bouncing a little bit. I was bouncing a little bit more and in the straightaways, and it was feeling a little bit more playful and a little bit get light here and get heavy there, and we can dig more into that. But then today at Hawes, I was doing it on an intermediate trail, very easy trail. I was bouncing, but I wasn't on a straightaway. I was in a turn, and I don't think I was focused enough. And it's so sandy there, and I lost my front tire, and I washed out, totally washed out.
Yes,
yeah. So the bouncing, you can do it incorrectly. I feel like I probably maybe I was going too fast, or maybe I just got light in the wrong place and heavy in the wrong place. And I had some sand. Just be careful. Like you did say that you were playing with it on the straightaways, and I was on a turn. And I think on the turn, you need to bounce with a lot more intention.
Yeah. Well, you're not bouncing in the turn. You're bouncing into the turn. There's no bouncing while you're in the turn. I just want to be very clear. Yeah.
Okay, let me write this down. Hold on a second. It might have been
in the mountain bike tips notes.
Was that the tip? Yeah. Was that what? Circumcise that tip also.
Oh boy.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, no, it's and we talked about this on the last pod. It's about the timing, figuring out when and where to use this. I feel like the more that I'm doing it, the more that I'm noticing it in other people, and like going back and seeing footage of like people that we respect, and they're applying this, and I just never realized it. And like, we're coming into this late to the game, and that's okay. That there's no time to do this, but it is going to take a lot of time to figure out when to apply this technique, and how to apply it more importantly, so a little bit of grace for yourself. I'm glad you didn't get super hurt, because that Hawes terrain is just so marbly like that. It's like, it's not even sand, dude. It's like this tiny little, it's kitty litter.
Yeah, it really does feel like kitty litter. And there's no soft place to go down anywhere in Arizona that I found. I have not found, maybe up if you go up as the Flagstaff where there's a little bit of dirt, and maybe you could fall without like seriously hurting yourself. But in the valley is gnarly. And Tucson we've been in, it's also desert and it's gnarly. Yeah. So that was like a kind of like okay, it happened. I kept on riding, and I decided I was going to ride Boulder Dash. Last time I rode Boulder Dash, which is a double black tech trail. Trail Sage just released an awesome video on us riding Boulder Dash. So check it out. If you haven't seen it, the Trail Sage video on Boulder Dash is fantastic. So last time I rode it, I was just kind of in that same place of just kind of coming out of having a bunch of crashes. And I've ridden Boulder Dash a lot, and there's a ton of alt lines there, but I was just going to ride it like, just the main lines or whatever I'm comfortable with. And last time I was there, I was really nervous. And so I was like, okay, I've been like stacking wins. I've been feeling better. I want to get like a little Boulder Dash run in. And so I started to ride it today, and I felt really good. It was good.
Yeah.
And then I got to, it's a little drop all the way to the right after a sharp turn. And you can go straight, or you can kind of go out of your way to hit this drop. And when you got here, I was avoiding it. And you looked at it, you were like, dude, we got this. And we unlocked it during that trip, which was almost a year ago now. And since then, I've been hitting it. I mean, I probably hit it, half a dozen times, 6, 7, 8 times. So today I looked at it, and it looked a little sandy at the bottom, but I was like, no, I think I'm good. I'm good. I got it. And so I came into it, and maybe I was not looking at the landing. Maybe I was looking at where I wanted to take off from. But the landing is very slanted. That was always what was in my head. It's slanted and it's sandy.
Yeah.
And I took off, and I think I just got a little squirrely, and there's no room for error on this. It's not huge. There's just no room for error.
Yeah.
And I landed, and I totally washed out. I feel like it's sandier now than it was last year. Like, I feel like it got sandier. I don't know. But yeah, man, I hit that thing and totally washed out. And the positive of it is there was still a lot of double black tech trail to go. And I got in that, like, oh man, I got angry and I was frustrated and I wanted to go back up and do it again right away, but I had to fix my handlebars. And by the time I calmed down, it was like, just keep riding. And there's a couple other really like steep sections in that trail that gave me pause last time I rode there.
Yeah.
And I stopped and I looked at them and I thought about walking, and I was like, no, you got this. I mean, I've done that trail on a hardtail. Like, I got this. And so instead of just staying in that I fell, I'm walking everything kind of mindset, I just was able to return to presence, and I was able to finish out the ride and ride every other feature that I wanted to that day and not have to walk anything. And I felt good about it. You know what I mean? Like, mountain biking, sometimes you fall. It's, I don't want to say it's part of the sport, but it's kind of part of the sport, and it doesn't need to be, and we don't want to, but beating myself up about it wasn't going to help any.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I actually think there is some rhyme or reason to what you're saying. It is actually gotten more washy. You've gotten more rain than you typically get in Phoenix. And that plays a huge part in how sandy a terrain gets. When the rain falls, as you noted, there's nowhere for the water to go. So whatever is on the trail gets washed down. So you get these giant sand piles, or you get these ruts. Then you ride on top of it and loosens more sand. So, the weather that you get has a profound effect on the terrain. What does that mean as riders? It means that you should be studying the terrain as you're riding, right? And when you start the trail, you're noticing these things, there's a pile of sand here that wasn't here before. That's something I should be noting that could be happening later on down this trail. So you're making all these mental notes. That drop that you're talking about is really tough. I mean, when we say it's right off a turn, it's literally off a turn. You can't get speed. That's what makes that drop. Yes, it's off camber, the landing, but the other hard part is
pedal kick.
You almost have to pedal kick. Right. And the drop itself, what is it? Like 3 foot, maybe at most? It's not bigger than anything.
It depends.
But it's a drop that you are comfortable with, that you've done drops of that size before is my point. So it's all these different nuances that you have to kind of take in. And I'm so glad that you were able to just kind of get out of your head and enjoy the rest of your ride, because I've seen the opposite happen plenty of times where it's just like, okay, well, that's it. This ride is ruined. I'm going to be in my head.
One of the things that Chris told me when we were riding, because a lot of people here are transplants, in the Phoenix area.
Yeah.
So you hear a lot of stories of like when people first got here and adjusting to this terrain, and everyone that either visits or moves to the Phoenix area, and you start riding desert when you're used to riding dirt, it's just like, oh, there's an adjustment that needs to be made here. Like, this looks and feels different.
Yeah.
And Chris said one of his first rides, and he's been here for about 4 years, but he said one of his first rides, he met Motomort, which is Motomort is like one of the best riders in the area. And he's a coach, and he's got an enduro team, and he's like really, really fast, just like an outstanding rider. So like Chris, like serendipitously met him one of his first rides. And one of the pieces of advice he gave him was, you're not going to ride perfectly centered the way that you would at a lot of places. You actually want to lean forward a little bit. You actually got to put a little bit more weight into that front tire.
Yes.
After I did that washout crash, I remembered that, and I started doing that a little bit more, and it did feel a little bit better. So anyone riding loose terrain, it's scary. Leaning forward when you're going on loose, gnarly terrain, like, is a little bit scary.
Yeah, especially in the turns, because you leaning forward means you're putting more weight on that front wheel. When it washes, and that means you're going down hard.
That's true.
Yeah, so there is.
That's true. That's a good point.
But no, I agree. We should all be moving forward on the bike for sure.
Yeah. So everything happens for us. We go with the flow. I saw this really cool thing on Instagram, and it was intuition speaks in statements, anxiety speaks in questions.
Yes, I saw that. Actually, I think you sent it to
Man,
me.
I did. I was absolutely like, say,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
hey man, like a cheat code to know whether or not it's intuition or kind of ego, you know, like a cheat code, because a lot of what happens is our ego ends up interpreting ego.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so the intuition is always like kind of quiet. And then like if we're all thoughts, you just kind of like have a thought and then your thought reconfirms the thought. But if you can kind of like have like a little bit of a hack to say, was that a question or a statement? That's something to play with. Ride and Laugh One at Gmail and YouTube comments if that resonates with you at all. But that hit for me. I was like, that's something I definitely want to pay attention to.
That is definitely something that hit for me as well. I started going back in my brain, like, well, what are the recent thoughts that I've had? And I got to tell you, 90% of it is falling right into that category, you know, of just like questions versus statements, you know, and everything that I say to myself that's positive is always a statement, you know. I'm not saying, are you a good rider? I'm saying you are a good rider.
Right.
You know, you can do this.
And if you think about it, in the mountain bike context, the self-talk that we use when we're working through something difficult is, I got this. You got this. Keep them rolling, right? They're statements. They're not questions. Do I have this? You know, it's absolute truth statements. You are good at this. You got this.
Yeah. Yeah. But the one thing that it brings up, and this is where, you know, a lot of these like Instagram clips and stuff fall short, is they don't actually tell you what the next step is, right? So you've diagnosed, oh, this came up as a question.
Right.
What's the next step?
Right.
Do you actually do the feature? And how do you change that statement to a question? And is that enough? You know, if I get to a feature.
How do you change the question to a statement? Sorry.
You get what I'm saying? If I'm standing on the edge of the slab and I say, wow, can I do this? You know, is that a question where I should be like, okay, that was a question, I should step back? Or do I change that question to a statement? And then is that enough to put me over the slab? The answer is no, by the way. The answer is no, that's not enough to just change how you say things. That's just one small part of it. You know, semantics matter. How you talk to yourself, how you talk to others matters. But that's just 50% of it, right? I don't know why this amount that I put up in my fingers is 50%, but apparently that's 50%. If you're on YouTube, I'm holding up my two fingers. It's a very small 50%. But
yes.
But that's just 50%, right? The other 50% is made up of, how have you been riding that day? Have you done this feature before? And can you actually do this? Can you actually visually see yourself doing this? And then if you happen to get to all those parts, then you change that statement. I can do this. This is in my wheelhouse.
Right. Is the self-talk in your head, is it a question? Is it anxiety? Or is it a statement? Is it confidence? And, you know, that's going to be a big hint on whether or not you want to do it that day. And if you can change the anxiety to confidence, then maybe that's still something that you're going to do that day. We've talked a lot about speaking out loud, talking out loud when you're writing down these difficult features. And I've been playing with that a little bit, and it does help. Okay. It does work. Yeah. And today I noticed I was not speaking out loud, and I went down a couple of these really steep features, and my thoughts are so fast that like I'm like halfway down, and I'm like, oh, don't hit that. Like that would be bad, you know. And then okay, oh, you got it. Oh, good. But my thoughts are so fast, I can't talk that fast. But my brain is going like fast enough to like, you know, diagnose where I want to go, don't want to go, and everything in between. But if I'm speaking out loud, right? Yeah, if I'm saying it out loud, then I'm like, okay, here and then here and then here. It slows everything down. So I think there's a lot of value in it.
Yeah, it stops those thoughts from even occurring, actually, to be honest. It slows down everything because now your focus is to try and get these words out. And now you're only really picking the things that are really important. You know, and the things that are really important are not the things that you don't want to go to or hit, which is what you think about. Like, oh, that pothole. Oh, there's a slick spot there. You know, like, no, those aren't the things. Right. Pick your target line. That's all you should be thinking. And so that's all you should be saying. Stay on this line, you know, get to that exit, you know, keep your eyes up, whatever those things are, you know. So I love that, man. Yeah.
Yeah. It was amazing to me. A couple times I was like, wow, I had so many thoughts in that like 1.5 second little segment. I had so many thoughts, It's crazy how fast the brain is. And, maybe that's just because I'm so intelligent, obviously, that might be part of, like my 50%. My 50% is big, and you can only imagine my 100%. Yeah. I got an American 50%.
I got to circumcise the 50%, my friend. It's too much. It's too much.
Well, no, let's not go any smaller. All right.
Oh, boy.
Talking about episode 32 of season 2, channel your inner mountain bike Jaguar.
Yes.
Ride loose, jump high, and crush buffets. And, a lot of J-hop and buddy hop talk in that one where we were talking about the Jaguar. But I thought that great listener Dan at Juggernaut MTB had a fantastic comment, because you also talked about your shock stanchion getting scratched and then using the nail polish to repair that, the clear nail polish.
Yes.
And the whole reason that the pump tip of carrying the shock pump in the car came up was because you had lost air and you didn't know it, because that nail polish had kind of worn down.
Yeah.
And so Dan wrote in, and I think this is awesome. Maybe this should be our tip of the week. Maybe we should save it. But he said that he uses several thin layers of contrasting color of nail polish to gradually fill in the damaged surface. And then he'll put like the Kashima color, the color match on top. But as that color wears out, then it'll show another color. So he'll get like a visual.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll visually show that he needs to apply more nail polish instead of getting to the point where, the shock is actually losing air. I just thought that was so smart. Smart guy.
This guy,
so smart.
He's on another level, my friend. This guy's always bringing it with these. Thank you, Dan. That is a fantastic piece of advice. And if I end up working on my shocks in the future, I will remember that one.
Hopefully I need to never use it, because I'm paying people to do that. Tell the guys at the shop. Actually, I would like multiple colors of nail polish.
Just to let you know, right? Yeah. Let me tell you how to do your job. Yeah.
Let's manicure this a little bit. Let's just put a little bit more work into it. You should bring it in. You should bring your bike into like a nail salon and tell them what you want. Who's better with nail polish? You know what I mean? Like, bring it into a nail salon. Get a manicure for your bike. A great listener and rider and friend, Brian on a Bike, had a lot to say about our J-hop versus bunny hop conversation. Mm-hmm. And Brian says, when did the term bunny hop get so many different restrictions? Growing up, it was bunny hop. Recently, I've heard J-hop, Bronco, scoop hop. Too much. It's a bunny hop, whether both wheels or one wheel before the other. Look at the old bunny hop competitions. The bunny hop Guinness Book of World Records with Jeff Lanoski held briefly. They were all front wheel first. I think it's time we come together and stop trying to cancel bunny hop. Bunny hop is the term I use and always will. And I'm hopping both wheels at the same time. Bring back bunny hops.
Well, you know what? It's hard to argue with a man like Brian, who is so accomplished, so talented. I totally see his point. I think the only thing that I'll say is, I mean, if you want to call the J-hop a bunny hop, I have no problem with that. But we definitely need to differentiate the two different jump styles, because there's a difference. They're not the same. Your approach and the use case is completely different. What we're calling the J-hop is or what he's calling the bunny hop is where you lift that front wheel first, and then you get this nice arc, and then your back tire follows. The bunny hop, or the English bunny hop, or however you want to refer to it, where both wheels leave the ground at the same time, that's a completely different skill set that I think it deserves a different kind of a name. Yeah, it's a different technique, and I think it deserves a name. Whatever you want to call it, I'm fine with. But they are two different styles of jumping.
So you're saying there's a move here where you're jumping with two wheels off the ground that does not have a name, that needs a name. Ride and Laugh 1 at Gmail, YouTube comments. Is there a name for that? And if not, can Ride and Laugh name it? Well, let's get some names coming.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm open to that. Yes.
What animal jumps?
Oh, geez.
Straight up in the air.
Yeah.
Straight up in the air.
You got one?
Bunnies don't do that. I don't think. Yeah. Goats do that. Goats jump like that, don't they?
I love it, man.
Me when I'm scared, if you startle me, I'll jump straight up in the air.
Yes,
but nobody wants to call it a Danny hop. There's got to be a word for it in the trials world, you know. And Brian isn't, and Jeff Lanoski, like those guys do know trials. There's got to be a word for it.
I think they were calling it all bunny hop. It was all fun.
It's all
falling under that, under that umbrella. And I'm arguing that it shouldn't. It shouldn't fall under the same umbrella. It's two completely different techniques. So, yeah, let us know.
We need like an org chart. We need an org chart where bunny hop is at the top, and then it goes down. J hop is down here, and then you got the English J hop or English bunny hop and the American bunny hop. You know what I mean? Like we need an org chart, and we get to name one of these. I'm not sure when you say English bunny hop, what are you talking about? The British have a different bunny hop than the Americans?
Both wheels. I think that's both wheels coming off the ground. Yeah. So the American bunny hop is the J hop. The English bunny hop is both wheels off the ground at the same time. So,
all right. If we have listeners in England and Britain, and I believe we do, we need YouTube comment. We need RideLife1@gmail or YouTube comment.
Yes.
What do you guys? What are you lads calling this? And ladies,
it's not an English bunny hop. They just call it the bunny hop because they're in England. Yes.
Oh,
it's like ordering Chinese food in China. Yeah, it's just food.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a really good point. All right. Well, let's get some clarification on it. I still want to hear from our English listeners.
Yeah. Yes. A little bit of lads. Yes, absolutely. Come on.
Maybe it'll be about something else, but I'm curious. Do they use the word bunny hop or just J hop? I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into gratitudes. What do you think? Do you think we should get into gratitudes now?
Let's do it. Yeah. Do you want to start it off? Or you want me to go?
Yeah, no, go ahead, because I really like your gratitude. I do know what it's going to be because we've already done this podcast, but I think it's something that's worth having a conversation about for sure.
Yeah.
Fire away.
I'm glad I get to do it twice, because it deserves to be done twice. My gratitude goes out to BKXC. I just watched a video by Brian, BKXC. If you don't know him, he's a pretty well-known YouTuber, and he's calling it quits.
Mountain bike YouTuber.
Yes. And by quits, I mean, he's still going to be doing mountain bike things, but he's supposedly ending his channel, which, I admit that I'm not the biggest Brian BKXC fan, but I have to also admit that he was a giant inspiration for me. And, when I was first starting out my channel, I really looked to him, for how I should construct my videos. And for me, growing up in this YouTube atmosphere with mountain biking, there was three big names, and this may be different for you, but for me, it was Seth, and it was Alex from a Single Track Sampler, and it was BKXC. For me, those three people were like the godfathers of what we know about mountain biking today. They were setting a bar for everybody else. Like before Brian, nobody's wearing gimbals, not that I know of, gimbals on their chest, to get steady footage where you could see the bars. Like that wasn't happening. And he was telling a story about these different places. Like whether you like Brian or not, you have to admit he's made it possible to like go to these places because you know about them now. That 50 state shred, like I can't tell you how many trails I've ridden because I've seen a video that Brian's done, and I was really sad to see that news, but I just wanted to say, thank you, Brian. I a tremendous amount of gratitude for what you've done for this mountain bike community. It's awesome.
Couldn't agree more. It's just very, very grateful to Brian. There was a time when like you said, he was one of the first. I think we have to put Nate Hills in that conversation also. Nate was one of the first guys to have the gimbal because these early GoPros, they didn't have any sort of stabilization. And I had like GoPro 1s and 2s. And of course we were on like fully rigid single speed hardtails. So that didn't help, but we would just put them on the handlebars or we would put them on the back of the seat. Like, I don't even think the chest mount wasn't really a thing yet. Like when these things came out, no one really knew how to use them. And these early like mountain bikers, the guys that quit their jobs and said, I'm going to drive around the country. I'm going to travel around the world. And I figured out this camera setup with this gimbal. and get POV, point of view mountain bike action, where you could see the handlebars and the arms, and it felt like you were on the ride with them. And Brian's telling the story, and he's relatable, like as awesome as Nate is. And anyone that's gone a place where Nate has ridden and seen the lines that Nate rides is like, this guy's way better, like unbelievable. You know what I mean? Like Nate's so ridiculous, and his friends are ridiculously good. Yeah. And that's awesome. Like if you're at that level, but I think Brian was very, very relatable because he was a guy who was really good at riding because he rode every day, not because he had like this, this pro level talent inside of him. And he made really cool videos, and they were fun. And I think that the mountain bike YouTube world has changed, and I think it's probably hard to continue to go to new places and show new places and keep it fresh. And then as these guys get older, I always wondered what would happen. He ended up meeting Sarah, who's another mountain biker, and she's in his videos. But if they want to start a family, like as these guys and girls get older, it's hard to just be like in a van traveling forever, riding all the time. So, I think it's a tough lifestyle, and that's something you struggled with when you started your channel. Like I can't do that. I have a family.
Yeah. No, I have plenty of struggles on the channel, and yes, I could certainly relate to all of those things. You make a really good point about Nate Hills, but more importantly, like the other videos that were available to you at that point. Where like I remember watching these videos from like Squamish, where these guys and girls were like in this like hamster wheel, like 50 feet in the air and doing these skinnies. Like that's what you got with mountain biking. It was that. And it was like, I can't relate to any of that. So here's Brian.
The free ride videos from the Squamish, Pacific Northwest, and like
unbelievable, by the way.
What they were doing on those old bikes. Yeah, in those videos was absolutely insane, absolutely mind blowing. Yes. And a lot of times I watch videos now where people are still riding those trails, and they ride by, and those features are like kind of like falling apart. Nobody rides that stuff anymore. It's too gnarly, it's too crazy, and they were riding it back in like the early 2000s. In these old bikes,
on the Huffy. Yeah,
it's really something. But
I know
that's a really good point. It's like you would watch these like just absolutely crazy videos, and that was it.
That's it.
No one was putting out. Yeah, I mean, YouTube wasn't a thing yet. These guys like were in the beginning of YouTube even.
I know, man, it was crazy. So yeah, Brian changed the landscape for me personally. Brian changed the landscape, and I can't say thank you enough, because the birth of my channel I owe a lot to him, and the birth of this podcast really too. It's like all of this kind of got started with a movement that he kind of spearheaded in many ways. So
he went for it. He quit his job and he went for it, and he followed his passion. And I absolutely love and respect
that's right and laugh.
And
yeah,
absolutely. And there was a time when when there wasn't as much content out there, but I loved the BKXC videos, and I watched a lot of them, and he showed places that I want to ride. He showed trails that I want to hit. And just a very relatable, very, very cool dude. So yeah, thank you, Brian. And, I'm sure he'll be successful at whatever else he decides to do next, because he's going to do it with passion, So my mountain bike gratitude of the week is coincidentally another person on YouTube, and it's our friend Josh at Slanted Ground. And I'm wearing my Slanted Ground shirt in honor of this gratitude. I do watch a fair amount of mountain bike YouTube, but Josh's channel is one that I watch just about every video, and I always get something out of it. I love the way he presents it. He's really quirky. He's funny, but the way he describes whatever he's teaching is relatable in a way that I haven't seen other people necessarily touch on.
That's right. Yeah.
And I was just watching a video of him where he was talking about riding down steeps. And, I come away from each one of these, like adding things to my notes so that I can remember this next time I go on the trail. Like every one of his videos, breaking the glass, or, where you have your hips, and, just like everything, like, it's just like very, very relatable. I think he does a great job. I know he listens to the podcast. He's in his Christmas special, he gave us credit for one of the things that he was recommending as a gift, because he saw it on the podcast. He's a great guy. The only thing that he doesn't do is talk about his own company.
He
makes these great videos, But he doesn't talk about his own company. So I'm going to talk about it. Slanted Ground go on their website. They have fantastic apparel. They got really cool shirts and hoodies.
Yes.
And he's got like cool designs. I don't know why he doesn't talk about it. The Slanted Ground marketing team, I think, is probably not doing a great job. You might want to like put a job posting out for that. Yeah. You know, I think the Slanted Ground marketing team and the Ride and Left Tip of the Week people, I think that might be like the same office.
Yeah.
You're friends with Josh, right? So, I'd love to get a ride with Josh next time I'm in Pennsylvania.
He is every bit as good as you see on the video and more. You know, it's absolutely GoPro effect. You know, when you ride with this guy, and to your credit, Danny, what you're saying is absolutely true. It's like you'll watch a ton of how to jump videos, and then you'll watch Josh's, and the way he explains it is completely different from everybody else, and it makes total sense. You know, and he'll debunk other things like, you know, this isn't actually true, and you know, I've done this study and done the work on this part, and so. The way he explains it, it's very, very unique. Definitely check them out. His personality is just so great. He truly does want to help the mountain bike community. And I think that's what gets in the way of his marketing. Cause I feel like he thinks by, you know, putting out his brand that it somehow lessens his message, you know, and Josh, if that's true, it is not true. That is false. And he has some awesome apparel. Like his apparel is awesome. And both of those can be successful. And I wish nothing but the most success for that dude. That dude is such a good man. He is really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's passionate about what he's doing. He's authentic. You know, I think he has other things that he's working. I know a lot of these videos, you could tell he's out there by himself, like early in the morning before whatever his other job might be. Like, you know, he's putting the work in and he loves to do it. He loves to do it. So I think they're great videos, and, you know, check out the gear. And while we're talking about awesome gear, I got to mention Ride Reactive. You know, we have two listeners in our sphere. And who have apparel companies, Ride Reactive, especially if you're in the Southwest and you're looking for something in the long sleeve, but he's got short sleeve also. That's Nathan. Just two great guys that are like doing what they love, and I can't support that enough. So, but thank you, Josh, for your videos and your awesome apparel.
I love it, Danny.
Slanted Ground.
By the way, all the links to everything down in the description below if you're on the YouTube or if you're on the podcast platform. So if you want to look up Josh's stuff, it'll be there. So definitely check that out.
And we are going to have Ride and Laugh apparel. But until then, support Josh and support Nathan. Ride Reactive and Slanted Ground and all of us, all of them.
Let's get a collab here. Can we get a Ride Reactive, Slanted Ground, Ride and Laugh collab going, please? Oh, how bad rear end would that be? I almost said bad. You can't say that word, right?
What happened to Arse? I've listened to several podcasts, and Arse is gone from your, you know.
Yeah, bad Arse.
Yeah, it was a thing. You were the Arse. You were the Arse man.
I was
the Arse man. The Arse man. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is another time for our English listeners to,
yeah. You were 100% an Arse man. You went down to 50%, and now your 50% has gotten so small we never hear Arse anymore.
Yep. Very, very small. I know. I'll bring it back.
That Arse up. Okay.
All right. Mountain bike tip. This is an interesting one, Danny. I'm bringing it back to a tip that you had given our viewers about putting oil in your BOA.
Bad start.
Oh, that sounded, that does sound oil up your BOA. Yeah, no, the BOA is the get your mind out of your arse. The BOA is the little knob that you turn on the shoe to tighten up your laces if you have shoes that have a BOA on them. And you said when, you know, that doesn't work as well, drop a little bit of oil in there and it helps to kind of loosen that ratchet. Yes. It works tremendously. Well, it's been freaking cold over here and I have this really nice Pearl Izumi jacket. This thing has got to be at least 10 years old. I'm not even kidding. I have pictures of me on the single speed with this. I love this jacket.
I recognize it. Yes. That jacket is sage. That
is iconic.
Absolutely identify you with that jacket.
Yes. Well, it's finally starting to go a little bit. I could not get that zipper to zip up. And so I just put a little bit of T9, which is a oil that I use for my bike, chain lube. I put a little bit on the zipper, and man, did that thing zip right up like no problem. Yeah, if you have mountain bike gear that is struggling with a zipper, give this a shot. It worked for me, and I'm pretty sure it'll work for you. Yes, lube up your...
Okay.
Yeah.
So in summary, if you're having trouble getting it up, put a little bit of lube on it. And
that's right. Yes.
That'll fix up the problem. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
I've heard this.
I think everyone probably already knew that one. Yeah. My tip to lube your boa so that it slides easier.
Yes.
And your tip to lube the zipper so you can get it up and down easier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I see where this is going.
Very similar tips. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right.
This podcast can't end soon enough. Everyone's like, yeah, guys, we got it. It's all right. Well, I think that's a great tip. And yeah, like, I mean, if anything you can do to bring life back to an older piece of equipment, especially if you find something like a winter coat that works.
Yes.
And then you're like, with winter gear, especially, like you find a jacket and you're like, I know this works at 25 to 42 degrees. Like I will be good in that window. And you don't want to lose it. You get a new coat and you're like, it's too warm or it's not warm enough, like, and suddenly you have to figure it out. Like when you have good winter gear or good gear of any kind and you can bring it back to life, then do it. You talked about sewing on this podcast, which I kind of chuckled at. And I am sewing things back together and keeping shorts and pads and totally working. So if a zipper's not working, that's a great idea. Put a little bit of lube on it. That's something every mountain biker has in their garage already. So
exactly.
Let's bring these things back to life. Yeah.
That's what I love about the tip is that the chain lube is something that you are, as a mountain biker, if you don't already have it, you should have it, and if you do have it, man, we're finding all these like alternative uses. That's what I love about these are hacks. It's like, dude, taking items that you already have or most people have in their household and making things work. The thing with winter gear and all mountain bike gear in general is stuff is expensive, bro. And you get what you pay for. It's going to last a long time. And if we can find different hacks to kind of even extend that life even further,
100%. Yeah. Mountain biking, not a cheap sport, unfortunately.
No.
And things break, especially if you ride like I do. Things break. So you got to replace them. If you can keep a jacket a little bit longer, it's nice. But mainly you love that jacket. I feel like if I saw someone else wearing that jacket, I would come up behind them and just be, put my hand on the shoulder and be like, Sage, and then they turn around and it's not you. That would be like,
ooh,
what? Yeah. It's one of those moments in the movie, where the wrong person turns around and it's so disappointing.
Yeah. By the way, never come up behind me and do that.
I almost said come up behind you and hug you, and I was like, I would never do that. That would be so weird.
Oh boy.
Yeah. There's an acceptable bro hug. The hugging the guy from behind.
From behind is
unacceptable.
That is
unacceptable. Yeah. In case you're taking notes, if you're worried, maybe it's different in England. Let us know. Listeners, let us know. Your English listeners.
Always from the front.
In America, you hug your bro from the back. You might get knocked out. Yeah, there's gonna be a reaction.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Maybe we'll make that a ride and laugh thing. Like ride and laugh listeners. You can hug each other from
ride and laugh. Listeners hug from the back. Yeah, no, that's that's terrible.
Some random dudes hugging you from the back and just be like, love the pod. Love the pod, whispering it in your ear. You guys are doing a great job.
I gotta tell you, I would find that acceptable. Please. Yes. Bring that.
I would start wearing bigger and bigger backpacks. So that just, what I mean? Like no one can actually get their arms around me. Just like, I got a lot of gear in there, like I know listeners want to hug me from the back, but like I got to carry all this stuff for the pod.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Is that lube in your back pocket or? Yeah. Okay. All right.
I got to bring a lot of, my boas, my zipper, you know what I mean? Like I got to carry a lot of lube for these things that, might need more life in them. So yeah. Okay. I don't think carrying extra lube and the getting hugged from behind, I don't think those things.
Let's not draw
necessarily.
That. Let's not connect that. There's a way to do it. And let's
leave that be. Yeah.
Yes.
Can we start the end of the podcast, please? Like we almost got out of this bit like 4 times, and we keep going back.
We just keep going back. All right. Yeah. I can't quit you.
It's pretty funny. Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good callback
hug from the back. Yes. Okay.
Hug from the back comment. Little Brokeback Mountain quote. That's great. That's great.
Oh, boy.
All right, I'm ending it. If you're still listening, we appreciate you. You got a good sense of humor. So please rate and subscribe. Give us a download. Set us to auto downloads. Watch on YouTube to the end. Watch Time Matters. Leave a comment. Any comment helps, but we love our listener comments. Right and Laugh 1 at Gmail with anything long form you want to talk to us about, or any comments about this podcast, any questions, or anything that you would like us to talk about in the future. And we also accept super thanks. And you can tell your friends about the podcast. And everyone have a great week and a great week of riding. Ride left.
I'll see everyone.